Hello and welcome to World Talks on TVP World with me, Hashim Kumar. Ukraine is exporting battlefield lessons from its war with Russia as Middle Eastern countries seek help countering Iranian drones. At the same time, Kyiv faces intense fighting on the front line and complex politics with Washington as the war enters its fifth year. To explore these issues, we're joined by Kira Rudik, Ukrainian Member of Parliament and a longtime friend of TVP World. Kira, welcome back. Good to see you.
Hello, Hashim, and thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. So what's going on in terms of defences against drones? Clearly, with the experience that the Ukrainian military now has, defending against thousands of Shahed drones that Russia has been firing at it, that knowledge is now being exported to the Middle East. Tell us about the dynamics there.
So the main issue in modern air defense is that Iran and Russia are able to produce Shahed drones at the fairly low price. So it's in all the accounts, it's less than $100,000. And they are able to manufacture really large quantities of those drones. Though the missiles used to take them down are 10, 20, 30 times more expensive, and there is a limit of how many of those missiles can be produced in a year. So we have learned since the beginning of full-scale invasion that if you are using expensive missile systems to take down Shahed drones that are much cheaper, it is not a sustainable solution long-term. And I think all our partners in the Middle East start learning that you cannot exhaust your supplies of multi-million-dollar missiles taking down a really cheap drones. So there should be a different solution, and Ukraine has a list of those solutions to fight against Shahed drones that we have been doing for a very long time right now. As President Zelensky said, we are ready to share our experience with our friends and partners, and we believe that this is the right thing to do. We have been saying that it is Iranian regime, Russia, China, North Korea, and Belarus against the whole world. And right now, finally, everybody sees that. But the truth is that it will take time until the countries that are being attacked by Iran right now will be able to scale the system and be able to use the technologies that Ukraine is providing.
Indeed, and Ukraine has just signed a very large deal with Saudi Arabian company for the manufacture of the anti-drone technology, but also there are Ukrainian experts in other countries, in Jordan and other countries in the Middle East, advising on how to best protect US bases in those countries. Are we seeing then Ukraine as a global leader in this technology and something that will hold the economy in good stead, both now and at the end of the war?
You see, Hashim, we are really not happy that we have come to this place. However, we have to get the best of what we can, and this is why, yes, indeed, Ukraine has learned all these important lessons at the battlefield. We have paid an enormous price to have this experience, and it makes all the senses that because we were getting so much support from different countries throughout the world, that right now we are sharing our expertise to the ones who are on the same side that we are. And it's very important for us, for Ukrainian people, that Ukraine is not only seen as a constant country that constantly asking for support, but actually the country that is able to share not only our experience in security and defense, but also our experience in digitalization of governmental services, our experience of the fight at the sea, our experiences in supporting people at the toughest times, at the evacuation, all the tragic things that war has brought to our territories, but what we learned to overcome.
Indeed. Now, I do want to move on to the situation on the battlefield, but very quickly before we do this. As I said just a minute ago, these defense systems are being used to protect US assets who are under threat in the Middle East. Do you think that is going to change the dynamic between Ukraine and the United States in the way that the US gets involved with the peace talks in the Russia-Ukraine war?
Ashim, every time President Trump is saying that Ukraine doesn't have any cards, we want to point out and say that we do indeed have some cards. And these are the cards that are protecting right now military bases in the Middle East. So we hope that this sign and this deal that is being made right now will be really helpful in explaining to the US administration who is on the good side, who is really supporting the United States, while Russia is obviously sharing the intelligence information with Iran.
Okay, now I'd like to move on to the situation on the front line. Ukrainian military has recaptured some settlements in Zaporizhia Oblast. Are we seeing a shift in the momentum of the war?
We want to hope that, but we also want to be very careful with the commenting these things because it requires lots of preparation, and then we never know if these certain operations will be successful. However, the decision by Elon Musk to suspend Starlink's services and connections for Russians has been very helpful for our forces because Russians were also using Starlinks at the battlefield, and it gives us a little bit of opportunity to use this time to regain Ukrainian territories. The spring that is coming is usually the restart of the actions at the battlefield. So we hope that Russia's preparation during the winter will not give them the proper results. And again, we trust in our military commanders, wishing them all the best and supporting them the way we can. Showing again to American administration that all the promises and threats of Putin that he will take all Ukraine by force, or at least Donetsk and every other region, that it just doesn't have reality to support it, and that Russia can be defeated and should be defeated at the battlefield.
Indeed. So one other thing, I mean, it seems as though Russia has no qualms about losing its soldiers. I mean, current estimates from the Ukrainian military say that Russia is losing about 1,000 men a day. I mean, how much longer can this be sustained by Putin?
You see, for the authoritarian regimes, there is no timeline. They can continue using people as battlefield meat, and they didn't even announce the mass mobilization just yet. Unfortunately, we have known this from the beginning. It's a David versus Goliath fight. Russia is much bigger than Ukraine, and Ukraine is a democracy, and we simply cannot and wouldn't be using people and our soldiers like Russia does. But the question would be not in the people that would stop Russia from continuing fighting, but actually in money. And this is why it's very disturbing, the fact that President Trump was talking about lifting some sanctions on Russia. We hope that our European partners would not go in that, because it's not going to give anybody any success in future. We have already seen what happens if sanctions on Russia are lifted. They just regroup, they invest in military, and then they attack democratic countries like Ukraine, like Georgia.
Well, certainly Chancellor Merz has come out very strongly resisting the idea of lifting sanctions on Russia to free up oil supplies in the global marketplace, and hopefully that won't happen in the near future. Now, internally speaking, Kira, can you tell us what's going on in Parliament, in the Ukrainian Parliament? What is the strategic trajectory when it comes to the war?
So we are right now living in two main realities. One reality is preparing for potential peace, because we really value the efforts that our negotiating team are making. But there is no peace inside, because we don't think that Russia is in these negotiations in good heart. But we still have to have the infrastructure and understanding of what's going to happen if there is a deal that is being made, including the potential legislation for the elections. On the other side, because we do not see the reality of deal being made, we have to continue preparing for the war. And this is why our concentration right now is to prepare for the next winter. And because no matter if there would be war or peace, or it will be very hard for us to sustain and survive with our energy system destroyed as it was during the last winter. And this is why we are working closely with the local councils, with our international partners on this particular question: how do we prepare for survival the next winter? Because unfortunately, it's very hard to rebuild energy infrastructure really quickly, and it has been massively destroyed by this winter's attacks. And I'm sure you know this, Hashim, it has been the toughest winter since the beginning of full-scale invasion, and it was really a miracle and hard work of so many brave people who were constantly fixing the destructions and taking down Russian missiles and drones, that we didn't get the total blackout, and that we were able to survive through these really cold times.
Indeed.
But the next winter is just around the corner, so we have to get ready.
Indeed, an absolutely momentous effort by everyone there keeping the energy supplies flowing. Kira Rudik, as always, a great pleasure. Thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us and sharing your analysis with our audience. We look forward to seeing you soon. Stay safe.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
That's all from us in this episode of World Talks. Don't go away. Lots more coming up. Goodbye.